What exactly does the phrase "the sons of God" actually mean? Are we supposed to consider the sons of God as earthly human beings, or is it possible that the sons of God could actually be the cosmic supernatural beings that are, in fact, part of God's very first family? When we turn to a passage like Genesis chapter 6, we see this phrase. Actually, we see it in a couple places. So let's just read through these verses, these examples, and then try to make sense of what this Hebrew phrase actually means. In Genesis 6, it starts here in verse 1, when mankind began to multiply on the earth, and the daughters were born to them, the sons of God, the Hebrew phrase here is the Bene Elohim, the sons of God saw that the daughters of mankind were beautiful, and they took any they chose as wives for themselves. And then later it says, verse 4, the Nephilim were on the earth both in those days and afterward. When the sons of God came to the daughters of mankind who bore children to them, they were the powerful men of old, the famous men. So we have an introduction here to these sons of God, the Bene Elohim, and we have this curious question. Who are they? What are they? And how are we supposed to think about them, especially as Christians? Like, what is actually taking place in the text? Well, before we get too far, I want to go to a couple other passages of scripture that will actually give us a little bit more indication of potentially who these Bene Elohim, the sons of God, are. So the same phrase actually shows up again in the opening page, in the opening chapter of the book of Job. So Job chapter 1, verse 6. One day you got it, Bene Elohim, the sons of God, came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. And then at the top of chapter 2, verse 1 says, one day the sons of God came again to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them to present himself before the Lord. All right. What in the world is actually taking place here? So I'm just going to go ahead from the jump and just suggest what I actually think this phrase means. Then I'm going to give a little bit of defense for why I think we should retain a ancient Near Eastern understanding, and for the most part, the early church and church tradition understanding that these sons of God are actually cosmic beings. They're supernatural beings. They're angelic in nature. These are not human rulers. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But first, notice this in Job, that the scene that we have is what my late great doctoral advisor, Dr. Michael Heiser, refers to, and he's getting this from Second Temple literature and from Jewish Israelite history, that this is a divine council scene. That God is a king, and because God is king, he has a council that he invites his family members to participate and to take part in. So Job 1 is almost like we are getting a peek into the cosmic king's palace, the place where he takes court, the place where he has discussions, and he's looking and he's judging and he's considering all the things that are taking place in his creation. And in Job 2, when you have this figure called Satan. So at this time in biblical history, the article is present, Hasatan, which is more referring less about a person and more about the office. This is the office of the accuser. And so there's this individual who comes in, the supernatural being who presents himself, Hasatan, along with the Bene Elohim, with the sons of God. Now, again, this is cosmic. This is supernatural. This does not give us any sense of a earthly palace or a earthly king with earthly people that are walking around. There's every sense that we get that this is a divine council scene, and God is king. And as God is king, he sits and he judges.